Hi there, this is Zach from the web team. Just wanted to say thank you for watching these instructional videos. The one that you're about to watch is for the CMS 201 video. I just wanted to give a brief introduction and let you know that this is going to cover the advanced settings that you see underneath the More on the left-hand side of the CMS, and then it's also going to cover each one of the modules. So it is a little bit lengthy, but if you look below, you should see in the description different timestamps, and those will let you jump to the different parts of the video so you don't have to sit and watch the whole thing in one shot. And then also below there is the contact information for the web team. So if you do have any questions, comments, please use those, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you with anything that you have. So thanks again for watching these. If you are looking for the latest and greatest content that is on the CMS, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and also follow us on Twitter. That is where the most up-to-date and current information is going to be posted. So with that being said, thanks again for watching. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks again. So the first thing we're going to look at is the access log over here on the left-hand side. This is a log that keeps track of all the changes that have been done to that particular CMS site. So for example, if we look at this event right here, you can see that I modified an existing content page, and this is the page that I changed right here. So if I click on this link, it then takes me to that page that I made the changes to. So if I go back into the access log, you also have the ability to filter based off of which type of an event you wanted. So for example, if I click here, I can then see, maybe I want to see who deleted a page or who added a new page. I could click on this, click on the filter button, and then I'm shown only those individual results that I chose from this activity type. Next, let's talk about the administrators. From this page here, you will see who has access to your CMS site. And this is also where you would go to add a new administrator. And this is also where you would go to delete an administrator. So if I wish to add a new administrator, I'm going to click this button here. I'm going to click in the search box here, and I'm going to type in the person's name. This is their GVSU network ID. If I click on search, there's the user I wish to add. So I'm going to click on their name, and I'm going to go down to continue. From this page here, I'm then able to modify all the permissions for this particular administrator. So for example, on the left-hand side for content creation, let's say I want this person to be able to add new pages, manage the custom site functions, and then you're given more options here. And then you're basically just going to check every box that you wish for this person to have. So for example, let's say I don't want this person to be able to create or edit forms. I would leave those unchecked. Over here in the site management, same principle applies. You simply check in the boxes of everything that you want this person to have access to. Once you're done, you simply click on the box that says submit. And now that person has been successfully added as an administrator. Now, if I wish to delete this person, I could simply come over here to this box here, click on delete. It'll ask, are you sure you want to delete this person? You say okay. And now that person no longer has access to this particular CMS site. New to the CMS is the ability to view your website analytics from right within the CMS. So if I'm logged in and you see that I click on the More button over here on the left, you'll see that I have a link for analytics. If I click on it, you will see that it will generate a report which then shows me the traffic on my page. You can see there's all sorts of information here, including the top viewed pages and the top keywords. So let me show you how to add this ability to the CMS. So if you log into your CMS site and you click on the More button and you are missing the analytics, such as this particular user, what you will need to do is you will need to have an administrator from your page add you to the analytics section. So to do that, what they will need to do is click on the link here that says administrators. From here, click on the button that says edit for the appropriate person. And then you will have to make sure that there is a checkbox in front of view analytics. Once that box is checked, you click on submit. And then that person will now have the analytics available for them to click on. So once you're into the analytics, you'll see that there's all kinds of information over here on the right-hand side. So if we start at the top, you can see that you can adjust the date range from which you want the report to be run. So for example, let's say we want to view all of the website data from December 1 of 2019 until December 31 of 2019. Once we've clicked those dates, we can click on Update Report, and the new report is generated. From this graph here, you can hover your mouse over the dots that you see. Those dots indicate the different sessions for that particular day. So as an example, on December 9th, there were 49 sessions to this site on that day. As you scroll down, you can see there's also some more information about those particular sessions. These charts that you see here show you the different sources. So for example, there were 75 visits from Google. Over here, this is the difference in the mobile versus desktop users, and then also the traffic from social media. As I scroll down, you'll also see that it will generate reports based off of the top viewed pages as well as the top keywords. So these are the pages that are seen the most, and these are the keywords that were searched the most. So below the top keywords, you'll also see that there's some text here. And so I want to explain what this means. You will see in your keywords that there may be words for not set and not provided. We provide an explanation of what those mean down here. So for example, the not provided means that Google is choosing to not share this data with us. There's nothing we can do about that, but the information is just simply not provided. The not set means that the tracking code was blocked some way. So for example, if they have an ad blocker on their browser, that would then prohibit it and say not set. So these are a few things that are not things that we can change, but they are out there, and you'll be able to see at least the number of sessions with those. And then the last one here is direct. That means that the person simply typed in the URL or used a bookmark. So that's what that information means there. Last thing I want to mention is that as we get used to using these analytics, you may see that this page changes. We're going to be adding content on here all the time. So if you see something on here that you may wish to add, please reach out to the web team and we'll see if we can do that for you. Next, we'll talk about context and footer. If I click on this, you'll see that this has a lot of information. It's got the address, contact information, social media, etc. And then I also have these boxes up here at the top that I can add. All of this information is what you see at the very bottom of your page. So if you need to update the contact information that you see here, or if you need to update your social media links, that is all done through the contacts and footer link on the left-hand side underneath more. Next, we're going to talk about the file usage link here that you see. What this will do is this can generate a report for you. And what this report will show you is the number of times a file is linked on your CMS. So for this page, for an example, this report has already been ran. I'm going to click on this button that says View Report. And when I get to this page, it then shows me the number of times that each file is linked on a CMS page. So all of these are linked at least once. If there was a 0 located here, then that means that there's a file that's been uploaded to the file manager, but is actually not linked on any pages. It would be appropriate then to delete the file because it's not really on any page. This is a great way to do some cleanup within the file manager. So to run this report, when you go to File Usage, you would simply click this button here that says Request New Report. When you click that button, please note that it will take 24 to 48 hours for that report to be generated. And once the report is done, it will email you to say that the report is done. Once the report is finished, you will then have 30 days to view the report. After 30 days, you would then need to rerun the same report. Next, we'll talk about the problem reports. The problem reports link that you see here is also the same link that you see on the home page of your CMS. If I click on total, it brings me to the same place that this page brings me to. This is a collection of all the problem reports that have been submitted for your CMS page. And so if you go to your page, so here's the web team page, and if I scroll down all the way to the bottom, there's this link here for report a problem with this page. This report gets submitted, and when it's done being submitted, it will go into this problem report section here. The idea being, If somebody issues a problem report for your page, you could then come in here, click on the View and Fix button, and you could mark this as fixed once you've completed it. Next, we're going to talk about protected access. What protected access does is it allows you to create a group in which only certain people can view a particular file, a particular content item, or a particular form. So for example, if I click on New Protected Access, I'm going to give this a name. And now I can choose who I want to be in this group. So I can make it all students, all faculty or staff. I can enter in custom a username and passwords if I want to. So for example, if you're sending this to a person and you only want that one person to access it, you could create a username and password for that one person. So then when they go to that site, they have to enter in the username and password to access. You could also do specific GVSU logins. And so for example, if I enter in my login there, and then if I separate it with a comma, I can then enter in other GVSU logins as well. So then if I do that, only people that are listed in here are going to have access. So let's just create a group where I'm going to have access. I'm going to hit submit. And now you'll see here I have a protected access group called CMS 201, the one we just created. So now if I go to, for example, content, and I click on one of the pages, and when I go to edit it, if I click on this More Options button, you'll see here there's a link or a section here for permissions. And so by default, everyone can view this particular page, this content item. If I check this box here that says only people with protected access can view this, and then I can choose the list that we just created. Now, whoever is in this CMS 201 list, they're the only people that will be able to view that page. Once I'm done, I would obviously hit publish, and then that will save those options. So the same can be said with files. So for example, if I go to the file manager, and let's say this top picture here, I only want somebody to have access to this picture. This would be applicable especially for like PDF forms or spreadsheets. So for this example, I'm going to click on edit, and then you'll see here it has the same permission section as did the content item. So if I click on this, only people with protected access can view or download this file. There you will see my list there again. And then when I was done, I would click submit. Lastly, I'll just show you with the form builder, when you go to create your own forms, you can also change the protected access here. So we'll take this top form for an example. If you click on the settings button, you'll see if you scroll down a little bit, there's this section here for permissions. Again, you can change this from everyone to only particular people. Change it to who you want access to. Click on submit, and then that will change it so that only those particular people will have access to that form. Next, we'll talk about settings. Here's a lot of different options and customization for your page that we'll go through. So first, it has the path of what your web page is. So in this example, gvsu.edu/webteam. It will have the title of the web page. So for our example, it's a web team. The description here, you will want to type in a short description, a sentence or two describing what your website is. And the reason why this is important is if you do a Google search, so for example, I did GVSU web team, what you see here, this text there, oftentimes will be what the description is. So you'll want to put in a sentence in there to describe what your web page is. You'll then put in the department in which you're responsible for the site. So for the web team, it's institutional marketing. And then this section here for contact us, when you go to a page on the CMS, there will be a link here, for example, contact us. And anything that you put within this text will be displayed above this text here. So on our page, we don't have anything, but you could put some text there briefly describing, you know, your web page or whatever it is that you want to put in that text above the contact us form. The next option is the navigation type. So on the current web team page, you can see this is the navigation type that we're talking about. So right now it's set for horizontal. If you want to change the navigation to vertical, you can do that if you wish to. That would then change it so that the buttons you see at the very top, this navigation, would instead be shown on the side and shown vertically. The next line here is for content titles, and so what this means is that if you have a page, so let's just say for example the About Us page here, if you have this option checked for show titles on all content pages, what this will do is this will put the name of the page at the very top. So this one would say About Us. However, for the web team page, we have it set for do not show the titles. We will put them there ourselves. And so this About Us here, you will see is actually part of the text, and you can see it's right there. So because we have this set for do not show, we are then telling or choosing to put the About Us title in the page itself. So you can have it shown automatically based off of the title of the page, or you can put them in there yourself. The next option down here is for default header display. And so for ours, we have only display headers on the home page. So what that means is that if we go to the web team page, you can see that we have a header on the home page, but then if we go to any of the other pages, we do not have a header. So that's the first option. The next option would be to display the headers on every page. If we were to select that, then every single page would have a header on it. And then last is do not display any headers. And so you can have it not show any headers whatsoever. The caveat to this though is that you can also specify a specific header for a page. And so if we were to select do not display any headers, but if we were to go to a content page, and let's choose the About Us page. If I click on this More Options button, right here is the section for headers. And so currently it is set for use the site's default heading, only display headers on the page. We have that set on that other page. But what I can do is I can say only display a specific header or do not display. So if I were to say only display specific headers on this page, and then I would choose or select one of these headers, and if I were to go back to the settings, that would apply even if I had the do not display any headers. So the individual content pages that you would see here trumps over what you would see within the settings of the page. So you have a lot of control over what the headers do. So next we're going to talk about short URLs. So let's use this as an example. Let's say that I have this presentation here that Joe created, and I want to share this with a group of people. And so what I would normally have to do is I would have to click up on this address here, I would copy it, and then I would paste it into an email or a message, whatever I want to send it is. What you can do instead is you can create a short URL. So if I click on this button here that says Add Short URL, I can give it a title. So let's just say we're going to name this Presentation. So now that this has a title, we're now going to specify what type of URL it is. So we could have this go to a content item, such as the About Us page, or for this example, we're going to redirect it to a website. Underneath URL, I'm going to paste that address that we saw at the very top here. And then underneath short URL, this is where you're going to give the name. So here I'm going to just call this Presentation. So now I could give it a tag if I want to. So we'll say CMS Help, and then I'm going to click Submit. So now you see we have Presentation added up here at the very top. So now what will happen is if I come and let's say I open up a new browser window and I type in gvsu.edu/webteam/presentation. You can see now it takes me to that website that we linked it to. So what I would have to do instead is rather than copy and paste this whole address, I could instead just copy the address that I typed in here. So webteam/presentation right here. Instead, I can copy this address, copy and paste it into an email, and then people can click on it. And when they click on it, it will take them to this page. So that is the example of the short URL. Then the last section over here is for tags. And so we've talked about tags quite a bit in the CMS 101 and briefly here in the 201 as well. Basically, you create a tag, which is a label for a file or a content item. When you click on this tags page here, this is where you can add new ones or you can edit them or delete them. So this is a general place that you can go and manage the different tags that you have on your CMS. So moving on, we're going to talk about the modules next. The modules allow you to have a lot more creativity and do a lot more functionality within your CMS. So to add a module on the left-hand side, you'll click this button that says Manage Modules. And then by default, there are not any installed on your CMS, but you can easily add one by clicking on the New Module button. From this dropdown, you'll see that we have several different modules. And in the next part of this video, we're going to be talking about each one of these modules and what they can do for your site. So we're going to talk about the Accordion module. I'm going to choose the Accordion module from here. And then from the next dropdown, we can give it an alias title. And you're going to be able to do this for all of the modules. It's a good idea to do because you will be able to give the name something more specific as opposed to a general name of just accordion. If I do nothing with this, it will add it as an accordion and just the name of accordion. Otherwise, what you may want to do is you may want to add in what this accordion is going to have. So for example, let's say we're going to call this the music accordion. And once done, I'm going to click Submit. And now over here on the left-hand side, we have the section for accordion, and then we have another entry here for music accordion. So now let me show you what the accordion is, how it looks like, and how you can use it on your CMS. I'll show you an example of how it's being used on the Department of Music, Theater, and Dance page. So they have a page here of scholarships and awards, and you can see here they have several different scholarships awards listed on the page. So if I take this top one here, performance-based scholarships, this is an example of an accordion. It's closed, but if I click on it, it will open up and it'll give information about that particular scholarship. And so you can see I can go through and I can click and learn more about each one of the scholarships and opportunities that you see on this page. So this is how an accordion is being used on one of our CMS pages. Let me show you how you can add it and how to add information to your own accordion. So now that we've added the music accordion module, let's now add some content to that module. So if I click on this link here, it'll take me into that accordion. And now I can click on this button that says Add Panel. You'll see here it asks for a title and then it asks for content. So if I go back to this page here, the Music, Theater, and Dance, this top one where it says Performance-Based Scholarships, this is considered the title. And then when you click on it, this is considered the content. So if I come back here, I can add a title and we'll just call this the Zach Accordion. And then the content, we will say panel for demo. Then this option down here, how should the panel be displayed when the page loads? So it's set for closed, and that is how this page is. If I refresh, you see the accordion is closed. You can have it also default to being open, however you want. It's up to you. Whatever you choose there, you say submit, and now we have our first panel added to our accordion. So then now if I wanted to, I could add another panel to this accordion. So we'll call this Zach Accordion 2. Here is our second panel. And again, you can choose if you want it to be open or closed and then say submit. So you can see we're starting to build more and more panels into our accordion. And so if I go back to the Music, Theater, and Dance page, you can see this particular accordion has several different panels, and so this is how it looks like in their CMS. You can see they have the Music Scholarships accordion, and then they have several different panels underneath it. So you can add as many as you want. And so now that we've added in a couple panels, let me show you how you can actually add this particular accordion to a page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the content section of my CMS. And I've already created a page here called modules. So I'm going to go into this page and edit it. And you can see it's just a blank page, very, very basic, nothing on it. And so to add the accordion module to this page, over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to click this button here that says modules. And this will then bring up a list of all the current modules that you have installed. So right now we only have the one module installed, so I'm going to click on it. And you can see that it now inserts that into our page. So a couple things that you can do. You can see that it added it to the first column. I can click on this and I can expand it to be however wide I want to. And then if I double click, I can do some more customization in here. I can have it show the heading if I want to. I can say hide the heading. And then the other thing that you can do is you can choose what color you want the accordion to be. So if I want it to be this color here, I select that. If I click on the more options, I've got some styling, and this will then highlight the background of the text, whatever color you select. So if I say highlight blue, now if I say save changes, now let's click on preview draft to take a look at what this page looks like. And you can see this is how it's going to look. So we've got our accordion added. The background is blue because we checked this box right here. And the first panel we've got set to open on default, and then the second panel we have set to close on default. So that is how you add the accordion to your page. And then once you're done and you save changes, you'll just want to make sure you hit publish, and that will add that in there. The next module we will talk about from the Manage Module screen is the blog module. So I'm going to click on it and add it. We will give this blog a title of CMS 201 and click Submit. So now you'll see over here on the left-hand side, we have a section for blog and then CMS 201 here. So let me show you an example of what the blog module looks like. And this is the web team page. And if you click on the What's New icon at the top, this whole What's New page is an example of the blog module. And so when I go into our CMS page to edit it, you'll see over here on the left-hand side, there's What's New right here. And then on the right-hand side, you will see these are all of the different blog entries that I have created. And so each entry here corresponds with each entry on this page here. So now let's work through and I'll show you how to create the blog module and how to create entries for it. So now we're back to the page where we've created the CMS 201 blog initially. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add an entry to this blog. So now we're going to click on the button that says Add Entry. First thing you need to do is you need to give the blog entry a title. So we'll name this CMS 201 Introduction. Then here's where you would actually write the blog, the description. So we'll just make this brief and call it, here is our introduction. Once you've got your text in there, you can then come down to this section and you can add assets, including an image or a video. So if I click on this button that says Add Image, it will then ask for the source of the image. And so this will then ask us to take you to the file manager. And so you can choose a picture that you've already uploaded to the file manager, or you can upload a new one. So for our example, let's upload a new one, and let's find a picture of me. And then you can tag it if you want to. So this is a faculty picture. We'll say upload. And because we're uploading a picture, you have to add the alt text. So we'll say this is a headshot of Zach McCurdy. And then if I wanted to, I could also add in a video. And so from this link, I could add in or copy and paste the text from a YouTube video. So for this example, let's go and find the video I've created on accessibility. So I'm going to copy the address you see at the top here and paste it there. And now because we're adding some media, we need to also add some alt text. So we're going to put GVSU accessibility video. And so now we've added an image, we've added a video, and you could, if you want to, change the publish date. So if I wanted this to be published, say, a week ago, I could choose October 10th. Today is the 17th. If I want this to be in the future, I could do that as well. So if I want this post to go out a week from now, I could change it to the 24th. But we'll make this published today. And then you could also choose if you want the author's name to be visible to the visitor. So if we don't want people to know that I created it, we could uncheck that. But now that we've added that, I'm going to click on Submit. And there's our first blog entry. So now that we've created our module, we've created a blog entry. Now let's actually get this onto our CMS site. So this is a little bit different than what you would see with your typical module, where, as you remember with the other ones, where you would be able to click on it and drag it. Instead, with the blog module, it creates its own page and you have to link to that page. So what I mean by that is if I go to one of the pages that we've created, and let's say I want to add a link to the blog module here. So I am going to add in, for this example, a paragraph. And if I double click in here and I'm going to add content. So let's say we add in just the word blog module. Here is our new blog. So now what we want to do is we want the user to be able to click on this word here, the word blog module, and from there that will then take them to the blog. So we've highlighted the word here. I'm now going to go to the button here for hyperlink. And then under link type, I am going to choose modules. And then under modules, I'm going to choose that particular blog. And then I will say OK. So now you will see that it creates a link to that particular blog module. So I'm going to say save. And now I'm going to preview the draft and I'll show you what it looks like. So here's our module. Here is the link to the blog module. So if I click on this link here, you will see it brings us to an entirely different page. So like I said, the blog module is nothing that you would drag and drop onto a page. It's something that you would link to that page. So for another example, let's say we want to create a navigation item to the blog. So right now, if I preview this site, you will see up here at the top, we just have one link and it's to About Us. So let's say we want to create a new link and we're going to call this blog. We're going to make this a main navigation item that links to content. And then for the content, from this dropdown, you will see now we have the option for CMS 201 blog underneath the modules. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to place the navigation after the About Us. So now if I click Submit, and then if we preview the site again, you'll see we have the About Us section, and now we have the link to the blog. So if I click on this, it now takes us to the blog as well. So as a recap, the blog module is not one that you would simply go to a page, you would click here and drag it onto the content item. Instead, it is a brand new page, a separate page that you would have to link to. One more thing I want to show you about the blog module as well is if we go into one of the entries that I've created for the Web Team What's New blog. So for example, this pull quote module. Down at the very bottom, we have a section here for categories. And if I click on Add a Category, I can type in what category this particular entry is. So let's say this is a What's New. And I click Submit. What that means now is that if I go to the What's New blog, I can do a search for any kind of data. But then now I also have a drop down for What's New. And if I click Search, anything that I've labeled What's New will then pull up within there. So you may want to go through and add categories to your particular blog entries. And so for the What's New blog in this example, I would need to go through and add What's New to all of the new features that are to the CMS. All right, the next module we're going to talk about is the module we call the Day in History module. So I went to the Manage Modules, New Module, and now I'm going to click on Day in History for this new module, and I'm going to say Submit. So what the Day in History does is it allows you to add in a content such as an anniversary, and it allows you to put it into your CMS page and have it show for the yearly anniversary or for the week or for the month or whatever time frame you specify. So we're in the module right now. You see day in history. I'm going to click on this button that says add day in history. So let's give this a title. I'm going to call this CMS 201 recording. And now we're going to put the day that this event happened. So we'll say this is October, we'll say 17, 2019. And then you're given the options of how you want this anniversary to be shown. Do you want it to be only shown on the date of that anniversary, so for just that day? Do you want it to be shown on the month, so the entire month of October? Or do you want it to be shown between a custom date? So if I want it to be shown, say, October 10th through October 25th, I can specify that as well. And so then you can come down here and you give this a description. So we can say on this day, we recorded a video on the Day in History module. So we've entered some text, and then you can choose an image if you want to. So I'll choose on this file here, and let's just pick this picture here. So now we've got a picture, we've got our event, and I'm going to click on Submit. So now that we've got our event added, let's add the Day in History module to our CMS page. So I'm going to go to Content, and I'm going to go to the page that I wish to add this to, so this modules page here. And then from here, I'm now going to click on the Modules button over here in the bottom right-hand side. And now I will select Day in History. And now you see that that module has been added. And then if I click on Preview, you can see how it looks like. It shows Day in History, and then it will show you the event that you've added. So you can add in many events if you want to, and then you can have it automatically be displayed on that particular anniversary. The next module we're going to talk about is what's called the Events module. And this is a pretty large module and one that you can do a lot of things with. So I'm going to click on New Module. I'm going to click on this drop down, and I'm going to choose Events. And then we will name this the CMS 201 Events. And then we're going to click Submit. So now you'll see over here we have that listed here. So let me show you what the Events module looks like on a website. So currently, if we go to the Alumni Association page and we click on the Get Involved and there's Events, this page here is utilizing the Events module. So you can see it's got all sorts of events listed, and then you can also do a search for events up here at the top, and you can also do a filtered for all events, upcoming events, or past events. So let me show you how to create some of these events. So if I go back to my test page here, and here's the Events module we created. Let's say I'm going to create a new event by clicking on this button right here, New Event. So then you have a few options that you need to select here at the top. So first is, this is a public event and everyone can see it on my website, meaning anyone who goes to your site will be able to see this event. The next one is, this is a private/hidden event and only people with the link can access it. So that means that you would have to send the link to somebody in order for them to view it. So in other words, if we go back to our example of the Alumni Association, let's say this top event here, we want it to be a private event. If we were to make it this selection here, it would not show up on the event page, and the only way that somebody could get access to it is if you provide the link to them. So that's what the private hidden event means. And then this button here says showcase this event by highlighting it and placing it on top of the list. So again, if we go back to our example, let's say we want to make the GVSU Homecoming the main event, or this checkbox right here. If we were to check a box for this event would then be at the top of the list. There's also an option here to add this to the main GVSU events calendar. However, note that all the submissions are reviewed and they have to adhere to the main events calendar policy. So for this example, we're not going to check that. Next, we need to give our event a title. So here in the title, I'm going to add, let's say we're going to create an event for CMS 201 training. The next option here is for the RSVP. The top option says this event does not allow registrations, meaning open to the public and anybody can show up and you are not keeping track of people who are registering. The next option would be, I would like to use the built-in RSVP, which is the basic functionality. And then you'll see here you have a number of options as far as the number of maximum registrations, how many guests can they register, how long before the start of the event they have to register, etc. So there's a whole lot of information in here that you can fill out as well. The next box would be, I would like to use one of my site's forms. And so there is another video that will be discussing how to use the form builder over here. What this option here does is this ties into a form that you've created. And so if you have a form already created for an event, you can use that form to link to this RSVP event. And then the last one is you could use a custom URL if you want to. So for our example, I'm going to say that this event does not allow registrations. Next, you're going to choose an image. It is noted here that in order for the image to display properly, we suggest using a square image of any dimension. So that means the pixels are the same horizontally as they are vertically. So if I go here and I'm going to choose a picture, let's say we're going to choose this picture right here. Now we can put an image caption, and I will say, for the caption, we'll say alumni group during move-in. And then the next options are for the date. So this is going to be the date of the event. So let's say we're going to make this on November 1 of 2019. Start time of 10 a.m. and it ends at 11:30 a.m. You notice here you can also put a check if it's an all-day event and also if there's no end time. So now I could also repeat this event if I want to. So let's say I want this to be repeated every week, for example. So I could say that on November 1, this is when it's starting. So then I also want it to go on for November 7. And also November 14. So I've added in those 3 dates. Now, you could add in some information. So let's say, for example, I want to link, this is for the CMS 201 training. Say I want to put the URL there to talk or send people to the blog we created or to the web team page. I could also send a link there to whatever link they want to click on right there. Description, this is going to be what the class is about or what the event is about. And I can say, give a brief description of what this is. I'm learning about. And then I could put contact information here. So I could say contact myself. And then for search keywords, so say, for example, I want somebody to be able to look for the term CMS. Or I want to somebody to look for training or 201. So those are all keywords that I've added in, and those will be able to be searched up here at the very top. Next will be locations. So this is going to be where the event is actually being held. So let's say, for example, I'm going to have this training at the Bicycle Factory and room 230-235 combo. You see, you could also put an other. So say if it's an event at off campus somewhere, you could put where that event is. And then you could also show if you want to embed a Google map for this event. So I'll say no for this example, but you could say yes. So now that I've created our event, I'm going to click submit. And now you'll see that we have the CMS 201 training events added. And you can see there's 3 of them. You remember we've added the 3 different events. So we've added the events. Now let's link to this page, or let's link to this module to show what the events would show like on our page. So we have a couple different ways in which we can link to this events module. So first I'm going to show you what it looks like if you link to it as a navigation item. So if I click up here on navigation, and I created a new navigation type for events. So we'll take a look here and see. It's called events. It's a main navigation item that links to content. And then the content that we want this to link to, I am going to say is, see here, the CMS 201 events. So you have 2 different options. You have the calendar view or the list view. So if I select calendar view and then I say submit, now we've added this navigation item here. So I'm now going to click on the view site button, and now you'll see we have events up here at the top. And if I click on it, you will see it displays what looks like a calendar. And so if I go to the next month, there you'll see the CMS trainings that I've offered. So that is using the calendar view. If I go back to here and I click on edit for events, before we chose CMS 201 events with the calendar view, now I'm going to choose CMS 201 events with the list view, and then I'll say submit. So now let's take a look at what that looks like. So if I preview the page and click events, you will see now this gives a list view as opposed to a calendar view of all the upcoming events. So I just showed you the events module and how it is a whole new page, and we linked it to a navigation item. So now I want to show you, if I go back to our page and I go to content, I'm going to show you how you can add this module onto a page that's been already created. So I'm going to edit this page that I've created called modules. And when this page loads, you'll see here it's just a blank page. Nothing is on it. Then if I click on the modules button down here at the bottom right hand side, and now you will see we have the CMS 201 events, and if I click on it, it now adds it to our page. So now if I click on preview draft, you will see that it creates the page with the event module already created in there. So I could go back to here and I could add in pictures, headers, whatever I want to. So you have two different ways to show the events page or the events module. You can have it shown as an entire page, which is what we did initially with the events button here. Or you could have it shown up on a content page within the page itself, and then you could add content around it. Next module we're going to talk about is one we call the Give Now module. As an example, if I click on this page here, this is the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences page. And if I scroll down on the left-hand side, you'll see we have two different modules added where a person can come in and they can donate money to that particular fund. So let me show you how to get that added. If you come back to your CMS and you click on Manage Modules on the left side, and then click New Module, from this drop down here, you will want to select the one that says Give Now, and then you can give it a name if you want to. And then we're going to click Submit. So now you see we have it added on the left-hand side down here. So now we need to select the fund from which we want the money to go to. So you can see here we can select one from this drop-down. And then we will click the Add button. So now that fund has been added. There is a description field that if you check this box, it will show the description. Otherwise, you can add in more information here as well. So we just added in a little bit more text and we clicked Submit. So now we've added in the fund, we've gave it a little bit of a description. The fund itself will have a description as well. So now let's add this to one of our pages. So I'm going to go to Content. I'm going to click the page to edit that I want to add this to. So let's click on the Modules button down here on the bottom right hand side. And now we will click on the CMS 201 Give Now. You see it's added there. So now let's click on the preview and take a look at what it looks like. And there it is. So now somebody can come in here, they can enter a dollar amount to donate money to that particular fund. So I'll close out of this and then I will hit publish, and now our changes are saved. If you do have questions as how to set up a fund, like you see in this dropdown, you will want to reach out to the development group. This is their page here, gvsu.edu/giving. You will want to reach out to somebody within this team and ask them how to create a fund that you can select for the Give Now module. The next module we're going to talk about is one called the GVNext News module. So if I go over to President Mantella's website and I scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see here there's a section that says GVNext News, and then it has various articles listed. This is the GVNext News module that's being used. And so anytime an article is published, this news module will automatically create a link to that particular article. So let me show you how to add that to your page. Back here on our CMS, I'm going to click on the link that says Manage Modules. And then I'm going to click on the button here that says New Module. From this drop-down, I'm going to choose GVNext News, and then I can give this a title. So we'll call this CMS 201 News. And then I'm going to click Submit. So now if I scroll over here, you can see we have the CMS 201 News module over here on the left-hand side. So then, once you're into this page here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add in particular tags to the news module. And so what that means is, if you click on this drop down, you'll see there's this giant list of tags that you can add to your news module. These are tags that are automatically created by University Communications. And so what you would want to do is you would want to find particular tags to add it here. So for example, let's say we want to add accountability. So we select it here and then click Add. Now I can go through and I can add in multiple tags if I want to. And now you see I have built a list for the GVNext News module. So now that we've added these tags, what we want to do now is we want to go and add this particular module to our page. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click on Content over here on the left-hand side. And then I'm going to find the page that I want to add this to and click on the blue Edit button. And then once this page loads, down here in the bottom right-hand side, I'm going to click on the Modules button. And when this list appears, I'm going to scroll down and find underneath GVNext News, here's the module that we created. So now I've added that into our CMS, and like other things, I can resize this if I want to. Now, if I click on the Edit button, you will see here that I'm brought up and I'm shown different options. So for example, do we want the heading shown? Do we want this shown here, the GVNext News? Then you can also choose how many articles you want to display, 1 through 10. So for this example, let's say 3. Then you can choose if you want to show the descriptions. So the descriptions being this text that you see right here. And then you can also have it show the images if you want to. So you could have the images shown next to the article. So you can have those show or hide. So once we're done, we're going to click on Save Changes. And now let's click on the Preview Draft button at the bottom and take a look at what the module looks like on our page. And so there it is. You can see we've got the CMS 201 News module. We've got the pictures being shown. And then we have the descriptions beneath the article headline there. So now anytime that University Communications releases a news article where it's using the particular tags that we've inputted, this module will automatically be updated to include that article. So now if we go back to the GVNext News module over here on the left-hand side, and you see we've added in all these tags. If you do have any questions about the particular tags in here, or perhaps having your own added, or just any questions about how these are generated, your best contact is going to be somebody in University Communications. Next, we're going to talk about the Instagram module. So if I click on the New Module button here, and then from this drop down select Instagram, I can give it a name if I want to. There we go, and click Submit. So what this will do is this will automatically pull in pictures from an Instagram account to a page on your CMS. So in order to do that, you first have to authorize the Instagram account to pull in the pictures. And so if I click this Authorize Account button, it will take me to Instagram. And if you're signed in already, like I am, it will say hello and ask you if you request the following. It will access your basic information, your media profile info. I'm going to click on authorize. And now I'll be brought to this page here that shows that my account has authorized this module for access to the user information. So now that we've authorized my Instagram account, we can now create a page with this on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to content, and I'm going to go to the page that I've created. And then from here, I'm going to click on the modules button down here in the bottom right, and I will select Instagram. And so now you can see Instagram feed for me. And I can change a few things if I want to. If I click on the blue pencil icon here, I can change settings as far as, do I want the heading to show saying Instagram and the number of photos that I want to show. So let's just say for this example, we only want to show one photo. I click on Save Changes. And now if I take a look at the preview, you can see there's my Instagram account, and there's the last picture that I had uploaded. So it's an easy way to get an Instagram feed automatically into your CMS. The biggest thing you have to remember is that you have to be able to authorize the CMS access to your Instagram account. The next feed we're going to be talking about is one we call the job feed module. If I click on new module and then scroll down here and select job feed, I'm going to give this a name as well. So what the job feed module will do is this will link into the GVSU Career Center, and any jobs that are posted with a particular feed as far as a subject area, it will automatically add it to your page. So as an example, if we look at the biomedical sciences page, if I click on students and scroll down, they have a section here for jobs. And if I click on it, it automatically creates this job feed based from the job feed module. So let me walk you through how to get that added. So we've created the job feed module already, as you can see right here on the left-hand side. And then I need to create a feed for where we want the jobs to come from. So for an example, let's just choose full-time positions. And you can see here there's a note, if you experience trouble or wish to add a new one, you will want to contact the GVSU Career Center. So I'm going to add the feed for full-time positions, and now I'm going to say add. So now you see we've added in the full-time positions feed. I can also add in another feed if I really want to. So let's do full-time entry-level positions. And so you can see you can add in multiple different job feeds in there. So now that we've added it in there, let's go add it to a page. So I'm going to click on content on the left-hand side. And I have a page here called Zach Test, and I'm going to click on the edit button. Once this loads, from the bottom right, I'm going to click on the module link. And then once this appears, I'm going to choose the CMS 201 job feed that we just created. And so you can see now it creates the entry for that module. Let's take a look at how this is going to look if I click on the preview draft button. And there you go. So we can see now that the job feed is pulling in all of the different jobs that we've selected. You can also click on this button down here that says view more jobs, and it will give you a better view as far as it will list all of the jobs available as opposed to just the ones you want in the feed. If I go back a page, you can see that it's currently showing 5 different job feeds. If we go back to our CMS, and I double click on this to edit it, you can see that we can change the number of maximum jobs that we want to post. So currently it's at 5. If we just wanted to show 2, you can do that as well. And once we click save, let's take a look at what that looks like once we preview it. So now you can see we just have the 2 job feeds there. So it's a great way to show and have a list of different jobs that are available. And if you look here, you can see there's several different fields that you can have. And if you want to add more fields, you would just simply need to contact the GVSU Career Center. The list module has been updated to include 3 different layouts that you can select from. When you insert your list, you can now select from one of the 3 following layouts: the table layout, the A to Z index, or the directory. This is an example of the table layout. You can see it's set up like a table with the different columns in the top row. If I scroll to the bottom, you will see that to advance to the next page, I simply click on the corresponding number. This is an example of the A to Z layout. The A to Z layout allows you to select one field to show, and it also has the alphabet listed at the very top for easy and quick navigation. Simply click on the letter, and they are brought to that section. You can also type in the filter field, and you are brought up the results below. Lastly is the directory layout, which is a combination of the table and the A to Z layout. It displays like the table layout, whereas it has the columns at the top, but then it also has the alphabet A to Z at the very top of the table. You can then also click in the filter link here, begin to type in a person's name. When you click on filter, it will show just those entries. Now let's walk through adding the list module to your CMS site. So what you'll want to do is log into your CMS administrator, and then from the left-hand side, click on Manage Modules. From here, you will want to click on the button that says New Module, and then from this drop-down, select Lists. I'd advise you to give this an alias title so that you have a better understanding of what the list is down the road. We'll call this one Staff. When done, click on Submit. If you're going to be creating a list from scratch, you are first going to want to click on the Manage Columns button here. From here, you are going to want to click on the button that says Add Column. This is going to be adding the columns at the very top of your list. So for this example, I'm going to name a column first name. Underneath column type, I'm going to select that it is text. Under column format, I'm going to select plain text. And then I do not want it to display as a filter, and I do want to display it on list. If I wanted to hide this column, I could uncheck this box here. Now that I'm done, I'm going to click on Save, and that column is added. Now that I've created some of the columns, I'm going to go back to the list and begin to put in some of the entries. So I'm going to click on the Back to List button, and now I'm going to click on the button that says Add New Record. I'm now going to add in a few individuals here. And you see if I hit Save, it adds in that entry. I could then go to Add New Record. I can type in another person's name. And if I click this button that says Save and Add Another Record, I'm instantly brought to another page here. I'm going to add in a few more entries here. You can see now I have my list begun, and I have 4 different entries in there right now. Now another thing you can do is if you have your data already in a spreadsheet, so for example, this particular spreadsheet here, you could also import this data into your list. Let me show you how to do that. First, I'm going to click on the button that says Import Data, and then from here, it'll ask me to import the file. I'm going to click on the button that says Choose File, and then I will select this spreadsheet here that's called IM Contact List. I'm going to say Open, and once that's uploaded, I'm going to say Continue. From here, you can see that it begins to match the row to the column. So for example, the column that we created called Last Name, it is trying to match up to these rows here. So row 1, you can see has just the names. So last name, first name, state. I'm going to check this box that says Skip. Now I can look here and I can tell that these in fact are the last names. The second column here is for first name, and I can see those are in fact the first names as well. If for whatever reason they are mixed up, you can click on this drop down here and you can select the other option that it's supposed to be. You could also click on Ignore, or you can add a new column. So for this list, it looks like we're all set. The last name is lining up with the last name, first name with the first name, and the state with the state. Now I'm going to click Import. And now you will see that all of those names have been successfully imported. One thing to note if you are going to use the import data function is that the data must be in an XLS, an XLSX, or a CSV file. Now that we've created the list, let's add this module to one of our CMS pages. I'm going to click on Content on the left-hand side, find the page that I wish to edit and add this module to, and then when I get to this page, on the right-hand side, I'm going to scroll down and find the icon that looks like this and says Modules. From here, I'm going to scroll down and find the List section and find the list that we created called Staff. Now that it's added to the page, I'm going to click on it and expand it across the 3 columns. You don't have to do that. This is just a matter of preference. Once done, I'm going to click on Publish. Now let's take a look at what that list looks like. So here's the page I just added it to. I'm going to click on the magnifying glass here for a preview, and it opens up, and there's our module right there. Now this is using the table layout. Let's say that I want to use the directory layout for this particular list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my CMS, and I'm going to click on the Edit button where this page is located. From here, I'm going to double click on the staff list that we've created, and I'm going to change the layout here from table down to directory. Once that's done, click Save Changes, and then click Publish. So now let's go take a look at the changes that we just made. So I'm back at the CMS, and I'm on the Content link on the left-hand side. From here, I'm going to click on the preview next to the page that I just changed. You will see that this page opened up, and it is in fact using the directory layout. However, let's say I take a look at this link, and I decide that I want to change how it's sorted. Because currently it's sorted by the first name. Let's say I want to sort this by the last name. Let me show you how to make that change. So let's go back to our CMS, and let's go back to the list that we've been working on called Staff. And then from here, I'm going to click on the button that says List Settings. Here is where you can change how the list is laid out. So, for example, the default sort column right now is not selected. So let's change this to say last name. Then you can choose which direction you want it to be sorted by, ascending or descending. So we're going to select ascending here. Now you can also change some of the layout settings on the A to Z index, including the display column for what shows up. You can choose any of the fields or columns that you have selected. So now click on Save. And now let's go back and let's take a look at the page and see if the sorting has changed. So I'm going to click on Preview next to my site. And now you will see that the module is now sorting by last name, with A being the first letter. So one of the things that you can do with the list module now is that you can create a chart based off of a data set that you have in there. And so you can see on this page here, I've created a chart based off of a percentage of students, the year, and then it displays the chart as such. So let me walk you through and show you how to create something like this for your page on the CMS. So the first thing you're going to want to do to create a chart is you're going to want to have a good data set. So for this example, you could see that I have a spreadsheet open, and with this spreadsheet I have a row at the top for a header, which has a list of all the different colleges, and then on the left-hand side here I have a column for the year. So these are going to serve as my axis. So this is going to serve as the y-axis, and this is going to serve as the x-axis. So now that I have a list that I'm going to go from, we can now import this into the CMS. I will mention that you don't have to have a spreadsheet in order to create a chart in the CMS. I will show you later in the video how to create a chart based off of data that you just manually enter. But in my experience, I have found that it's easier to create a chart based off of an existing data set like you see here in the spreadsheet. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the module. So I'm going to go to Manage Modules on the left. I'm going to click on New Module. Then I'm going to choose list from here, and then I will give this a title. So now if I scroll down, you can see I have the CMS 201 chart here on the left-hand side. And so if I click on that, you can see we just have an empty page here for the module that we just created. So the next step would be to import the data into the CMS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this button that says Import Data, and I'm brought to this page. I'm going to click on the button that says Choose File, and I'm going to select the spreadsheet that we have created. Click on Open, and then you'll see that it has the name of the file listed right here. This box here will be if you have a header row in the spreadsheet. So with this particular spreadsheet, we do have a header row, so I'm going to click Yes. Then I'm going to click on Continue. So then we're brought to this page, and this is the import page for our data. So let's take a look at this first box here. So with this first box, you can see that it has row 1 and it has a checkbox for skip. This is because on the previous page, we told the import feature that there was a header row. So row 1 is going to be the headers that we saw across the spreadsheet. Then if we jump down to row 2 and row 3, you can see that it has a date. So over here on the left-hand side, it asks you to enter a name for column 1. It will automatically put whatever the header row is into this box. So for this example, row 1, it has year, and now we see year over here. So for the column type, you'll see right now it's selected for text. I'm going to keep it text. Even though it shows as a year, one of the other options that you have in here is a date. If you're going to select date, the date must be the month, the day, and the year. So for our example, it's just the year, so therefore I'm going to keep it just as text. For our second column here, you can see that it has, for the name, it's abbreviated College of Community and Public Serve. So we may want to change the name of this. And then if we look over here on the right, you can see that row 2 and row 3 are both numbers. So over here for enter name for column 2, it automatically imported this name, but we can change that so that it's more appropriate. Then for the type, I'm going to change it from text to number. And that's because these are the two numbers over here in the row. So now I'm going to work through the rest of the page and make sure that all of the columns and the rows match. All right, so now I have all of my data all set and lined up for the appropriate type and the name as to how I want it imported. So with that all set, I'm now going to click on the button that says Import. And now you will see that all of that data has been brought into the CMS. So now that we have the data imported, let's begin to create our chart. So I'm going to click on the button up here that says Charts. From this page, I'm now going to click on Add New Chart. This page then lets us create the chart, and so it's going to be what's on the chart, how it's sorted, how the data is organized, etc. So the first thing we need to do is we need to give the chart a title. So I'm just going to create a generic title and call it College Numbers. Then from chart type, you can choose what type of chart you want it to display. So this is not permanent. You could come in here and you can change this at any time. So for this example, I'm just going to choose bar. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to choose what you want on the x-axis, the bottom line. So for our example, I am going to say that we want the year on the bottom line. You can create a label if you want to. You don't have to, but for our example, I'll say year. And now we have to choose how we want the x-axis sorted. So we're going to choose year for how we want it sorted. So by choosing this, we are forcing that the columns be sorted by the year as well as displaying the year. So then the x-axis sort direction you can choose if you want descending or ascending. And then if you want, you can choose a label for the y-axis, the horizontal axis. And so for this one, let's just put down the word colleges. Then you must choose a theme. And so for this example, we're going to use Colorblind Safe. So now that we've created how the chart is going to look and how it's going to sort, now we actually need to put the data into the chart. And that's what this button here does for Add New Series. So I'm going to click on this button here, and then it brings up this box or these sets of options here. So the first one here is the title. The second one is the column, and then you can delete it. So what I like to do is I like to come over here and choose the column. So then this is going to be all of the different columns that we had in our spreadsheet originally. So let's just say for the first one, we say College of Community and Public Service. And then you can see up here, it starts to begin to create the graph. Over here on the title, you could also label it. So for this one, you can see we've got the color here, but we don't have any text next to it. So nobody knows what it is. So for the title, I may want to type in the name of the column. So now that that's typed in there, that is our first data set. So now I'm going to click on the button again to say Add New Series. And then I'm going to repeat the whole process again. So I'm going to choose College of Education, and now you can see that it begins to fill in the chart a little bit more. And then I'm going to give it a title again. I'm going to click on Add New Series and do the exact same thing. So you can see I'm now going to begin to fill in the data series for our chart. So now you can see we have the series all ready to go, and you don't have to match the name exactly for the title and the column. So for example, you can see here for the Kirchhoff College of Nursing, I was able to put College of Nursing, College of Education, College of Business, etc. So you don't have to match the column name specifically. You can choose your own title and type that in. So now that that's all set, I'm going to click on Save. And now you can see the chart has been created successfully, and there's our first chart that we've created called College Numbers. All right, so now that we've created the data, we've created the chart, now the last thing we need to do is we need to add the chart to a page. So what I'm going to do from this screen is I'm going to click on Content on the left-hand side, and I'm going to find the page that I wish to add this to and click the Edit button. And then once this page loads, now I need to decide where I want to place the chart. So I've decided that I want to place it in this top row right here. I'm going to click on the button down here in the bottom right for Module, and then I'm going to scroll down and find the list chart that we've created, so CMS 201 chart, and I'm going to add it in there. And then like other things with the CMS, I can now adjust the size, so I'm going to click on the side here and drag that over. So now that we've added the chart to our page, the next thing we need to do is we need to tell this chart that it actually is a chart. So if I click on the blue Edit button, I'm then brought to this page. From here, I'm going to click on the drop down for Table. So you'll remember that we're using the List module to create this chart, and the List module has several different views and uses that you can use it for. So for our example here, I'm going to change this from Table down to Chart. Once I've done that, the next drop down appears where I have to select the chart. And if I click in this box, you'll see there's the chart that we've created called College Numbers. So that means you can have multiple charts on the CMS. You will then choose which one you want to use from this option right here. Now that we've done that, I'm going to click on Save Changes. And now let's take a look and see what this is going to look like when we scroll down and click on the Preview Draft button. And so there it is. There's the chart that we've just created. So you can see over here on the left, we've got colleges for the y-axis. And then over here at the bottom, we've got year for the x-axis. And then we've got a label for each one of the different colleges down here in the legend. So you may remember earlier in the video, we talked about and we created this chart as a bar graph, but we can easily change this to something else if we want to. So I'm going to go back to our page here, and I'm going to click on Publish to save it. So now that that page is saved, if I scroll down to on the left-hand side and choose the list that we were working with, the CMS 201 chart, here's all of our data. I could come over here to Charts, and if I click on this, here is the chart that we've created. I'm going to click on Edit. And now here's the chart type for bar. I can easily change this to something else, and you can see that it will create a preview for you over here. So you can choose any one of these types of graphs, and then it will appear on your page as such. So let's say I change this from a bar graph to a line graph. Now that I've done that, I'm going to click on Save. Okay, so now that we've changed what type of chart it is from a bar graph to a line graph, let's take a look and see how this is going to look on our page. So I'm going to click on Content on the left-hand side, and then this is the page that we've been working on. I'm simply going to click on the Preview button, and let's take a look at the page, and there it is. So now you can see we have the different type of graph for the chart that we had. So just as a reminder, if you want to change what type of graph you have, you change that from the list module itself over here on the left-hand side. You click on the list, then you click on the chart button, and then you choose which chart you want to change by clicking the edit button and choosing which type of chart you want it to be. The next module we're going to talk about is the news module. So I'm going to add the news module here, and I'm going to give this a name. And now you'll see that we have CMS 201 News over here on the left-hand side. So how this works is I'm able to add stories into the news module, and then on our CMS, it will display these stories, very similar to what the blog module does. So as an example, we have a site out here for big data at GVSU. And if you look over here on the right-hand side, they have the GVSU news module going right here. And if we take a look at their page, over here on the left-hand side, we've clicked on Big Data at GVSU News, and these are all of the different news stories they have within this news module here. So let me show you how to get this added and how to customize it. So we're back at our CMS page, and we're going to add our first story. So I'm going to click this button that says Add Story, and let's give this a title. So we're just going to call this Hello from CMS 201. So I want to give this news story a date, so we'll make it today's date, which is November 4. And then here's some other content that you can fill in. So I'm going to take a second just to fill in all this information. So now that I have all the information filled out, I'm going to click Submit. And there you go. Now we see we have our first news story added there. So I'm going to take a second and add in a few more news stories so that I can show the example. So now that I've added some news stories here, let's add this news module to one of our pages. So I'm going to click on Content on the left-hand side. I'm going to click on the page I wish to edit. And once this page loads, I'm going to click on the Modules button over here in the bottom right. From here, I'm going to select the News, CMS 201 News. This is the one we just created. And you can see that it is now added to our page. If I double click on this or click on the blue Edit button here, you can see we have some more options that we can configure. So you can have the heading showing or hiding on the news. You can also choose the number of stories that you want to display. So for our example, let's say we just want 2 stories to be shown. And then you can also have description showing or hiding, and you could also show or hide the images. So for our example, I changed it to be 2 stories displaying, to hide the descriptions, and to show the images. So now that I've changed those, let's hit Save Changes. And now let's click on the Preview Draft button, and let's see what this page looks like. So you can see here, these are the two different news articles that we have showing. So a person can come here and they can click on either one of these, and it will take them to another page which gives them more information. I could put links in here if I want to. I can do whatever I want as far as creating content. But we've now created the news module, and in the future, what I would want to do is if I come back to the CMS and I save our page that we just worked on, now if I go back to the CMS 201 news over here, I can now simply add a story, and when that story is added and submitted, it will automatically appear in the news module that I've added to the page. I'm going to be talking about the photo gallery module next. If I click on Manage Modules over here on the left-hand side, and then click on New Module, I'm going to select Photo Gallery from this drop-down. The Photo Gallery module is one of our more popular ones. I'm going to give this a name. We'll call it CMS 201 Photos. And then click on Submit. And so now we should see it over here, down here at the bottom on the left-hand side. So what you can do is you can add in many photos and then have them display as a gallery. So as an example, if we go to the Recreation Center website, it gives an overview of the Recreation Center. And then if you look down here, there's a bunch of photos, and this is using the photo gallery module as an example. So let's walk through and show you how to add it and how to add pictures to it. So I'm going to go back to our CMS, and here is the photo gallery module that I've created. And so now I'm going to click on this button that says Add Gallery. Here I'm going to give it a title, so we'll call this CMS 201 Photos, and I'll give it a description here. And then a couple options that you have listed below here. Include a link to the list of all galleries when this gallery is displayed. So that is this link that you see at the bottom of the gallery. So we're going to keep that check. And then this says display the gallery in a list of all galleries for the site. And as you can see, it says strongly recommended. And what this checkbox does here is when you add more and more photos into a gallery, so for example, if we look here at the athletic and recreational facilities, you can have a photo gallery be uploaded but not listed. And that's what this box here means. So if you uncheck this, then the gallery will not be listed. And as you can see, we strongly recommend that you keep it checked because you're going to want to list it. And then you can also choose where you would like the gallery to be added, above the other galleries or below the other galleries. So now that we've got our options set, I'm going to click Submit. And now we have started to create our very first photo gallery. So now that we've created the gallery, we can now add photos to that gallery. So to do that, I'm going to click on the Photos button over here on the right-hand side. And then I'm brought to this page to where it says I currently do not have any photos. So we're going to click on the button that says Add Photos. From this page, I'm going to click on the Choose Files button, which will then bring me to a dialog box to where I need to select the photos I want to upload. So I have some photos here that I'm going to upload. I just selected the first one, and now I need to go through and give the photos title, an alternate text, and a description. So I'm going to do that real quick here. Okay, so now that I've added in the title, some alt text, and a description, I can then click on the Choose File button again, and then repeat the process and create more and more photos. So I'm going to take a couple seconds here and add in some more photos. The next module we're going to talk about is one we call the Popular Pages module. So if I click on New Module, and I'm going to choose Popular Pages from here, and then we'll add our title. And so now you'll see down here at the bottom left-hand side, we have CMS 201 Popular Pages. So as an example of what this module looks like, if I go to the Payroll Office CMS site, you'll see over here on the right-hand side, they have a section that says Quick Links. And these are links to things that would be popular on your site. And so this is using the Popular Pages module. So let's walk through showing you how to add one of these. So here is the module that we've created, and now we need to add a page to this module. So I'm going to click on the button that says Add Page, and I'm going to give this a title. So this is going to be what the link says. So let's make this one just say About Us. Then in this drop down, you're going to choose where you want this link to go. And so you can see we have all kinds of different options, including content items. So these are going to be pages that we have on the content page. So I'm going to choose About Us, which is a page that we've created. And then I can choose how I want this page to open. Do I want it to open in the current tab or in a new tab? The other thing you can choose to do is whether or not you want an icon to show to the left of the link. So if we go back to our Payroll Office, these are the icons that are listed. So I'm going to say yes, I'm going to show the icon. And then you can see here that we have a whole list of icons that you can choose. So for our example, I'm just going to pick one. And then I'm going to scroll down and click on Submit. So now you can see we have one link added to our popular pages. So I'm going to take a second, I'm going to add in a few more pages. One thing I do want to show you is when you go to add a page and you give it a title, when you choose which page you want it to go to, you can always say redirect to a website. And so if I choose that option, I then can enter in the URL. So for this example, I'm going to link to the training video that I have out on YouTube. And then I'm going to have an icon shown. And then once I click Submit, this training video link will actually take me to the YouTube page of our training video. So when you add a page, you can also have it redirect to a page outside of the CMS. So now you can see I've added in a few links to the Popular Pages module. So now let's add this module to one of our pages. So I'm going to click on Content. I'm going to find the page I wish to edit. Once this loads, we're going to choose where we want this to go. So I'm going to click on the Modules link down here in the bottom right. I'm going to choose the Popular Pages module that you see. And then you can see it adds it to our page. So if I click on Preview, we can see how this looks. There's the module that we have there, and there are the different links that we've added. So the Popular Pages module is a great way to have links to your most popular pages on your site. And so you can add the icon, you can make it look really nice, and then it's an easy way for people to get access to those most popular pages. Next, we're going to talk about the Pull Quote module. So I'm looking here at President Mantell's site, and you can see in this section here, there's a section that has a quote from President Mantella. This is using the Pull Quote module. And with the Pull Quote module, you can put in different quotes, and then you can have a random quote appear on your site. So let me show you how to use that and how to get it installed on your CMS. So back on my CMS site here, I'm going to go to the left-hand side and click on Manage Modules. I'm going to click on New Module. And in this drop down here, you will now have one called Pull Quotes. You can give it a name if you want to, but you don't have to. And then I'm going to say Submit. Now that we've got the Pull Quote module added, let's go to the Pull Quote page. I have it here on the right-hand side. You will also have it down here on the left-hand side under Pull Quotes. I've added in a couple quotes already. Let's add in a new one. So we say Add Quote. You type in the quote you want it to say. So we'll say hello again. Type in the author and say Submit. And now you'll see that I have a number of quotes in here. You can edit a quote if you want to by clicking on the edit button, or if you want to delete one, you could click on the delete button to remove that particular quote. So now that we've added in a number of quotes here, let's add it to a page so that we can see how it looks. So I clicked on content on the left-hand side. I'm now going to click on the module page, which I have created. And let's say I want to add the pull quote section right here on my page. So what I'm going to do is on the right-hand side, I'm going to click on this button down here that says modules. When this appears, I'm going to scroll down and find the pull quotes module and click on it. And now you will see that I have the pull quotes here. So by default, it's in the one box. I can make this larger if I want to by clicking and dragging. And then you can make it small by clicking and dragging the other way. Now that that's done, and we've added that, let's click publish. And now our changes are saved. So we've just changed the module pages. We click on the preview, you can see there's the quote that we have there. And what's nice is that when you refresh, you can see that it will rotate the quotes that you have in your list, and it will show all the different quotes on there. Next, we're going to talk about the module called the random module. So on the left-hand side, I click Manage Modules. I click on New Module. And then from this drop-down, I'm going to select Random. And I will give this a name and click Submit. So now we've created the random module. And let me show you an example of what this looks like. I'm on the Human Resources Professional Development page. And you will see this chunk of text right here. It has a professional development tip. What the random module will do is it will generate a random section like this every time the page is refreshed. So if I refresh the page, you will see that this professional development tip has changed. So every time I refresh it, you can see the text changes. So this is using the random module. So let's go back to our page and let's create a few different random facts in here. So I'm going to click on the Add Entry button. We'll give it a title. We'll call it CMS 201 Training. And I'll just throw some text in here. And then I'm going to click on Submit. And now you'll see we have a listed title in here. So I'm going to add a couple more here. So you can see I've added in a bunch of different random facts. So now that we've created these, let's add this random module to one of our pages. So I'm going to click on Content on the left-hand side. I'm then going to find the page that I want to edit, which is this page here, this modules page. I'm going to click on the blue pencil icon to edit. And once this page loads, I'm going to click on the modules button on the bottom right. And then from here, I'm going to choose the random module that we've just created. So I click on that, and now that module has been added to our page. There's a few things you can customize with this. If I click on the blue pencil icon here or double click on it, you can see now I have the option of showing the heading or hiding the heading. And I can also choose however many entries I want to display. So 1 through 25. I'm just going to keep that at 1, and I'm going to have the heading shown. And I'm going to click Save. I'm now going to click on Preview Draft, and let's take a look at how our random module is looking. And you can see here is the page that we've created, and here is the random module added there. Now you'll see if I click on the refresh button up here and refresh the page, you will see that the fact that you see in here randomizes every time you refresh the page. So it's a good way to put some information out on your page that you want to be random. You want it to show a different fact or different random fact every time you load. So I'm going to come back to our page, click on Publish, and now our changes are saved. All right, the next module we're going to talk about is what we call the Spotlight module. So I'm going to click on the New Module button. From this drop-down, I'm going to choose the Spotlight icon. And let's give this a name of CMS 201 Spotlight. So now we've added the module. Now let me show you an example of what this module looks like. I'm going to go over to the Grand Valley Political Science Department page. And if you scroll down on the right-hand side here, there's a section here for spotlights, and what they do on this page is they spotlight or they showcase all of the different students that have been through the program. And so you can see we have a list of people, and then we click on this View More Spotlights button. And then I would be able to go in and click on a person if I wanted to learn more information about them. So they are using the Spotlights module. So let's walk through and show you how to add people to it. So now let's add a few spotlights to our page. So I'm going to click on the button that says Add Spotlight, and now I'm asked to fill out some information. So I should mention that the spotlight that the political science department uses, they are spotlighting individual people. You could also use the Spotlight module to spotlight research or different events. It doesn't have to be people. You can use it for all sorts of things. So for our example here, I'm going to do a spotlight that showcases all of the different modules that we have on the CMS. So for this first one, I am going to type in Accordion, which is one of the modules we have. Then I can click on this button here that says Choose File, and if I want to, I can add an image. So let's find a picture, and there's a picture of me. And then I have to type in an introduction. So I will type in something here. Just to introduce and showcase what it is that we're doing. And then down here would be the actual content. So if I had something typed up, I could copy and paste it here, or I can talk about and show instructions on how to use the Accordion module. So you can see I've typed in some text. Learn how to use the Accordion module by watching this video, and then it links to the video. Now that I've typed this all in, I'm going to click on Submit. And we're brought to a page that says you've successfully edited a spotlight entry. And you can also see here that it has a check mark underneath the listed. So if you have an entry that perhaps, or a spotlight that you don't want to show, you can click on the X here, and now that will be unlisted. So now that I've added one spotlight, I'm going to take a second, I'm going to add in a few more. So now you can see that I've added in a bunch of different spotlights onto our module. So now that we've created some spotlights, let's go ahead and add this module to one of our pages. So I'm going to click on Content on the left-hand side, and now I'm going to click on the page that I wish to edit, which is this modules page. And then from this page, I'm going to click on the Modules button on the bottom right-hand side. And if I scroll down, you can see that here is the CMS 201 Spotlights module we just created. And now we've added it to our CMS page. If you double click on this or click on the Edit Spotlights module button, you can see you have a whole bunch of different options in here as well. So you can say show heading or have the heading hide. You can show how many spotlights you wish to display. So for our example, let's choose 2. And then you can have the descriptions showing or hiding, or you can have the images showing or hiding. So I've made a few changes there. I'm now going to click on Save Changes. And now let's click on Preview and take a look at what the Spotlights module will look like with what we've just created. And so you can see here within the module we have two different events. So the first one is the Day in History and the second one is Accordion. So you can see with the Day in History, it does not have a picture, and I purposely did not load any pictures to show you what this would look like. The Accordion module, I have uploaded a picture here, and you can see what that would look like. So a person could then click on whatever module it is and then learn more about that particular spotlight. Then from this page, they could also click on this button or icon here that says View More CMS 201 Spotlights, and here are all of the spotlights that I have created. So the Spotlight module can be used to highlight and show anything really, and then you can choose how many of those you want to display on your page. So I'm going to go back to our page and I'm going to click on Publish, and now our changes have been saved and the Spotlight module has been put onto this modules page. So the next module that we're going to be talking about is the Tabs module. If I click on New Module, and then from this drop down I scroll down to Tabs, I can then give this a name and click Submit. So let me show you an example of what the Tabs module looks like. if I go over to the community engagement page, and then if I scroll down here, you see about halfway down the page, they have this section here with all these descriptions and all this text in here. So this is using the tab module to where a person can then click on each one of these tabs and then the information will appear. So this is a good example of how to use the tab module. And let me show you how to actually create one. So if I go back to the page that we're working on, and now I'm going to click on the button here that says Add Panel. And then from here, I can make a title. So let's call this CMS 201 Training. And then here's where I could type in the content. So I've added in some text here, and then I'm going to click on the Submit button. So now you see that I have one tab created. So I'm going to create a couple more tabs here. And now you can see I have 3 different tabs that I've created. So now I'm going to add these tabs to a page. So let's click on Content on the left-hand side, and let's click on Edit on the modules. And now we're brought to this page here. So I'm going to click on the Modules button in the bottom right-hand corner, and then I'm going to scroll down until I see the CMS 201 tabs that you see right here. And I'm going to click on it, and you can see that it adds it to this page. So now I could also, if I wanted to, click on it and resize it to reach the width of the page. Now the next thing that I want to do is I will want to click on the Edit button for this particular module, and then I will want to place a check in front of which tabs I want to display. So you can see here, these are the 3 tabs that I've created, and I want all 3 to display. So I've created those, and now I'm going to hit Save Changes. So let's take a look and see what we've done and do a preview draft. So now you can see in the preview draft that we have the tabs module here, and then we have the 3 different tabs that I've created listed right there. So that's the tab module. Easy way to create content and have users have to click and view different information. We're going to be talking about a module that we have called the Twitter hashtag module. And so what this module does is this module will go out to Twitter and it will find hashtags that have been generated from various accounts, and it will pull it into your CMS, and then you can pick and choose which tweets you want to automatically be shown on your CMS. So if I go to Twitter and I do a search for hashtag GVSU, you can see that we have several different tweets out there right now. So let's go back to our CMS and let's create this module so that we can collect these tweets. So to add the Twitter hashtag module to our page, we're first going to click on the Manage Modules link on the left. Then from here, we're going to click on New Module. And then from this dropdown, we will want to select Twitter hashtags. We'll give this an alias title name of CMS 201 hashtags, and then click on Submit. So now we're brought to this page. So we've created the module, and now what we need to do is create a hashtag set for the tweets to collect. So I'm going to click on this button that says Add Hashtag Set. You have to give this hashtag set a title, so we'll call this GVSU. And then in this box here, you will then enter in the hashtags that you want to collect for your CMS. So we're going to type in GVSU, and then if you place a comma, you can then enter in additional hashtags. So another hashtag that we may want to enter is Go Lakers. Once you're done adding in the hashtags, you will simply click the Submit button. And now you can see that we have a hashtag set created with the title of GVSU, and it will begin to collect the hashtags and the tweets that have the words GVSU and Go Lakers in it. So now that we've created the Twitter hashtag set, we're going to be collecting tweets that have the terms GVSU or Go Lakers in them. So what we will do next is we're going to click on this button that says Tweets. Something to keep in mind is that the tweets will be automatically collected every hour. And so currently we have no tweets associated with this search. So if I come back to this in the next hour, I will then begin to see the tweets. So some time has passed, and so now let's go take a look and see what tweets have been generated with this Twitter hashtag module. And so you can see now we have a whole list of tweets that have automatically been generated based off of the hashtags that we've entered. So what I would need to do now is I would need to go through and approve the tweets that I want to be shown on my CMS page. So I've selected a few. You could also click on this box here and it will choose all of them, and then you would want to choose the Approve Selected button. So we're going to pick these first few here and then click on the button that says Approve Selected. You'll get a prompt saying all of these records will be approved. Are you sure? Just to make sure that you want these tweets to be public. So now that we've done that, you'll see up here it says the records have been approved successfully. So now that we've approved some of the tweets, let's add this module to one of our pages. So I'm going to go and click on the content link over here on the left-hand side. And I have a page here called Zach Test that I want to add this module to. So I'm going to click on the Edit button. And I'm brought to this page here. So now what I will want to do is click on this button down here in the bottom right to view our modules. And then I am going to choose the Twitter Hashtags module to add to this page. So now this module has been added, and you can click on the blue Edit Hashtags button or double click on this to view a few more options. And so here you can choose if you want the heading to be shown or the heading to hide. You can choose which hashtag sets you want. So if you have additional hashtag sets, you could choose which one you want. And then you could also choose how many tweets you would like to display, 1 through 10. So for this example, I'll select 2. Then I have the option of choosing if I want this to display as a feed or as a spotlight. I will show you what that means here in a second. I'm going to choose feed and then click on Save Changes. So we've now made the changes there. Let's click on the Preview Draft button and take a look at what this is going to look like. And so now you can see that the hashtag module has pulled in these 2 tweets which we've approved to our page. And we'll also notice that when we were at our page here, we chose to display it as the feed. So now let's add this module again, but then this time we're going to say, let's show 3 tweets, and instead of the feed module, let's show it as the spotlight. So now we're choosing that this one will be the feed, this one will be the spotlight. Now let's click on Preview and take a look at the difference between those 2. And there you can see what the difference is. And so this is the feed, this is the spotlight here. So you can choose whichever one you want. The person viewing the page could then also click on this link here that says View More Twitter Hashtags. And then we will be able to see all of the tweets that came in that we've approved. So the Twitter hashtag module is great if you've got a particular event going on. So for example, homecoming. If we wanted to collect all of the tweets for homecoming, we could do that by simply creating the hashtag set homecoming or GVSU, and then we could automatically populate those tweets based off of that hashtag.